Our next speaker, incredible lady, Rachel Thompson. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think of the terms energy, frequency, and vibration. Her favourite quote from Nikola Tesla. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Rachel Thompson.
Thank you, Rita. Hi, my name's Rachel. I'm a musician and a creative coach. I've always played the violin, and as the years have passed, I've added more strings to my bow. Those of mother, teacher, grandmother, and coach. I was born in Christchurch, New Zealand. My parents were strict. I was in a household of 7 children, a musical household. Our days were filled with strict routines, duties, and music practice. I grew up with a strong respect for discipline and hard work. Sunday was a day of rest, and at church our family would fill one pew and overflow to the next. When I was 18, I was offered a scholarship to attend a music academy in Philadelphia. I trained hard with top teachers for 4 years, and I practiced. There were good times. I played in Carnegie Hall with other selected students from elite colleges on the east coast of the States. And bad times. The bad times started 2 years into my studies when I moved in with my boyfriend, a Chinese-American cellist at my school. Letters arriving every week from New Zealand smacked of my mother's disapproval. Unmarried, living with a young man, it was sinful, and my parents were disgusted. After a few months of living in sin, I started to feel unwell. I would be sitting in an orchestra. We started every day with an orchestra rehearsal. In my section, feeling very spaced out and lightheaded. I had blurry vision, I had headaches, and I couldn't concentrate on what the conductor was saying. If I played with very full bows, I'd lose my balance and think I was going to fall off my chair, and I was afraid I was going to smash my instrument on the ground. I wasn't functioning effectively in any area of my life. I was too nervous to use the subway anymore. And if I'd race through the supermarket shopping, anxious that the aisles were closing in on me. The moment I went out my door in the morning, I would feel instant nausea and dizziness. My boyfriend grew very impatient with my ridiculous behaviour. One time he shut me in our bathroom to try and cure me of claustrophobia. Well, it was a small room with no window and a solid door, and I was pounding on it. I just was screaming, and he eventually gave in and let me out. But I was hyperventilating by then. I went to the doctor for blood tests, convinced that I was dying of something or suffering from some desperately dreadful illness like lupus or multiple sclerosis. There had to be something wrong with me. When the test came back normal, my doctor scheduled me in for a brain scan. The day before the brain scan, my boyfriend was walking with me to the bank. I didn't want to go outside, and he was practically dragging me along the sidewalk. I kept glancing up nervously at the skyscrapers. When I was in line at the bank, I suddenly had the sensation that I had a massive explosion in my head. And I was down on the ground, crouched down, holding my head and screaming, "My brain's on fire, my brain's on fire." And a security guard came running, and minutes later I was in a police car speeding through Rittenhouse Square to Graduate Hospital. They kept me there overnight because that's where the scan was due the next day. Well, the scan was normal. There was nothing wrong with me. I was shocked. I thought I was really dying. In the 80s, there wasn't a lot of knowledge or understanding out there about how your brain and your thoughts can impact your physical health and well-being. I just found it incredible that those symptoms that were so real to me had come from my mind, and there was nothing wrong with me. But at least knowing that I was healthy, a healthy 20-year-old girl, it was up to me to fix those thoughts and take control of my brain. So, Firstly, I was gentle when I spoke to myself. I used words like breathe, breathe, and I repeated that, calm. You can do this. I forced myself to go back to those places I'd avoided, the movies, the subway, the elevators. And I learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So I went on to finish my studies and to win the New Zealand National Concerto Competition. Since then, I've played with orchestras in the United States, Australia, and New Zealand. As a soloist, I've played electric violin with CC Entertainment, played Led Zeppelin covers in all the major theatres in Australia. And I've performed alongside great international artists such as Andrea Bocelli, Diana Krall, Harry Takanua, and the British band Uncle. I've learned that I have to keep myself tuned to a very high vibration, a bit like a musical instrument. And what we were doing earlier, like all this movement and stuff, that's exactly what you need to do. It can be drumming, it can be chanting, singing, music, action, the gym. The gym works well for me. But this is another thing that works well for me too. Nikola Tesla was a Serbian-American futurist, inventor, and chemical engineer, and he was most well known for inventing the alternating current electricity supply system. He died in 1943, and since that time he's been largely forgotten until Elon Musk came along and named his electric car and his company after him. About vibration, Elon Musk said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So today, I'd like you to stand up, please. I'm not going to get you to do too much, just a little bounce, so just listen to the instructions. This is a Chinese practice, a whole body vibration, and it has benefits to your whole musculature, your internal organs, and your glands. Taoist monks say 1,000 vibrations a day cures 100 diseases. What you need to do is keep your legs shoulder width apart, arms hanging loosely. All you're going to do is drop your weight a few inches and bounce 3 to a second, so it's 1 Mississippi, 2. Can you just do this? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. And as you do it, just let your arms hang. They may sway. If they sway, don't stop them, but don't make them sway. If your head bobs, let it go. You're going to do this for at least a minute, so keep comfy. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Okay, so if you can just scan your body with your mind and see if there's any 10 spots, and then take your mind there and guide the energy the Chinese call qi through that energy. And then guide it down to your internal organs, like your liver or your kidneys. You can do 1,000 vibrations in about 6 minutes. So you can be watching TV, or you can be listening to music. Now shift your weight to 1 foot. And then shift it back the other foot. Keep your bounce going. It should be just about the couple of inches enough that you are going to spring off the springboard. Okay, thank you. Let's see. You feel better? Well, if you did it for 6 minutes, you'd feel very good. I like doing it, especially in the morning when I'm stiff. Okay, my special love is the violin. And I sometimes say to my young violin students, imagine that you're a violin tree and that actually the violin's growing out of your body like a branch or a third arm. Because when you play the violin, you really encompass it, you do get around it. Now the violin has a little, inside every violin is a little stick. It's a piece of dowel called a sound post. And you can't see it. And I always have my students trying to squint through the F holes, the sound holes, trying to see this little stick, which is placed in the perfect position under the bridge. That wedged little stick is not glued in position, because if it was glued, it wouldn't allow the vibrations to come through. So the vibrations go from the top plate to the back plate and make the sound more open and brilliant. If you knocked it out, the sound would be dramatically different. There's another word for sound post, the arme, which is French for the word soul. Now, Albert Einstein was a violinist. He said everything in life is vibration, and he also said our bodies are the instruments through which our souls play their music. So if you imagine yourself as a violin and your little sound post is your soul is your little sound post. As long as it's not wedged there, but it's securely positioned but not glued, and it's free to vibrate, you can play a brilliant song. So I'm going to play you a song, and it's a song by Coldplay called Viva la Vida, which means the life lives. And I'm playing on an electric violin, so the sound is not going to be, the vibrations are not coming through the sound post, they're coming through the amplifier. And using this technology, I'm able to layer loops, which will take me a minute or two to layer those loops. You're always going through another episode of life. You meet new people, you get new skills, new experiences, and each new thing reframes the past and you build a new loop. So go on, actively building your loops and keeping your vibration high. I'm going to play the tune above it. It's Viva la Vida, but for me it's Viva la Vida.